Hi all, welcome to Super Coders. So in this tutorial, we are gonna work with AWS. So basically, I will show you how you can create an instance in AWS. You can sign up a free account with AWS for 12 months. EC2 instance in AWS. We can use EC2 instance to deploy our project and deploy our Django project and React project. Then I will show you how you can create a database in AWS and use that database for our deployment of our project for Django. Then I will show you how you can create a budget, like how you can set a monthly budget and a free budget. Then I will show you how you can log into your EC2 instance and how you can debug your Docker. Then I will show you how you can create a Docker images and how to push your code in Docker and how you can see the Docker images. After that, I will show you how you can set up CI/CD pipeline to automate your workflow and make your deployment fastly. So when you push your code in your branch, it will automatically deploy your code to AWS instance and we can see the latest code in our server without doing anything manually. So you have to implement a CI/CD pipeline. I will show my running project in the EC2 instance. You can see the URL. It is running on EC2 instance. After that, I will show you how you can take your local database dump and push in your live site. So I will show you all these things in this tutorial, from basic things to about advanced thing of how you can deploy your Django and React application to EC2 instance with automatic workflow. So let's get started and let's work on this tutorial. And also, if you are new to channel, please subscribe our channel and please like the video. If you have any question, please do comment. Now let's get started. So first, you need to sign up your free account in the AWS. So basically, you can just come to the website AWS and create a sign up account for a free trial account. AWS provide 1 year free trial account. So you can use that feature to do your training, to do your test deployment code and do all these things. I already signed up. So I just come to login. So click on sign in, just come into the login page and log in with my account. So I already have my account and logged in. Now after that, we need to come to our EC2 instance. So it is showing recently visited EC2 instance, but if you are new to AWS, simply come on search and search EC2 directly. So it will show you a virtual server in the cloud. Click on this EC2 instance, click on it. After that, it will show my all the EC2 instance. Like right now, we don't have any EC2 instance running. That's why it is showing nothing. If you click on running, there is no EC2 instance showing. Once you will create a EC2 instance, it will show here. So right now, I don't have any EC2 instance. So you have to create a EC2 instance. Click on launch instance. After that, we have to give our server name. So I'm just giving the server name Ecommerce. Then selecting the image file. So I'm selecting Ubuntu for our deployment. And after selecting the image in your free account, you can see the following details like Amazon machine image, Ubuntu server, and it is also showing a free tier eligible. There are lots of things other images like Pro Ubuntu, different types of Ubuntu OS, but I'm selecting my free account for free OS, which is the following features. And after that, I'm selecting the architecture 64. Right now, I'm selecting the t2.micro, which is free instance. If you see, there are lots of other instances also like medium size, small size, different kinds of size for the instance. But for me, I'm selecting my free account with free instance. That's why it is showing 1 CPU, 1 GB memory, and current generation. Apart from that, there are other also types like t2.large, which have 2 CPUs, 8 GB memory. So I'm just using my free account with t2.micro. So I just select my OS, basic details, instance type. Then to create a key pair login. So let's create a key pair login. We can use this key pair login to SSH terminal login to our server. So click on create new pair. I'm selecting the key pair name, Ecommerce Django, and select the PEM for OpenSSH. Just select these settings, create new key pair. After that, it is created and it is downloaded. Next, we have to come to the network setting. Let's leave all these things. Then we have security settings, allow access from anywhere, make it on, also make it this on, also make this on. All these three settings need to allow in the network setting. After that, we have the storage setting. So I'm taking as a storage 20 GB. we have free usage till 30 GB. So I'm just using 20 GB. After that, we have advanced settings. Just leave that for now. And we have all the things like one instance, softwares, and other things are showing. Just click on launch instance. Now after that, AWS will create your instance. Now if you see, it is created the instance. If you click on this instance, you can see our instance. It is creating right now. It is in pending state. So wait for a few moments. Till then, come to the Docker and create an account in Docker. So Docker Hub, create an account here. So I have already created an account. So I'm just getting logged in. And for you, just need to create a Docker account. So after creating the account, please save your username password. I already created my account. Right now, we don't have any repository, anything. For now, just create an account in Docker Hub. After that, save your credential anywhere. Let's refresh this page and let's see. So you can see our instance has been created. You can see the state, it is running state. After that, click on it and click on connect. So there are two types of connection. You can use the Amazon directly to connect your instance via web browser. The second option, we can use terminal to connect with our instance. But for me, I'm just using the default connection. And here if you see the username taking default Ubuntu. So by default, when you create an instance in EC2, it will create a user Ubuntu by default. After that, click on connect. So that's it. Our instance created and we have successfully logged in. Now after that, we need to install Docker. I first run the command sudo apt update. Then we have to install Docker. So running the command sudo apt install y docker.io is installing the Docker file. Now after that, let's start the Docker. So running command sudo system ctl start Docker. Then we need to enable Docker. So same way, just change start to enable. After that, we need to install Docker Compose. So for that, just run the command sudo curl. Then I have one command and paste it to install the Docker in the location. So I'm just pasting my URL, which has https GitHub Docker Compose, and it will save in our user location bin Docker. I will share this link or share these things in my complete description of this video and also in the file. After that, click enter. So it is downloaded the Docker Compose file. After that, we need to make it executable. So for that, running command sudo compose enter. It will become executable now. After that, we need to allow or add Docker user. So for that, running command sudo user mode enter. So in that way, Docker assigned to that current user. Now after that, all this thing has been done. We need to allow our port of the server to access 8000 port and 80 port. So what I can do, sudo vfw allow 8000, then allow 80. Now after that, all thing has been done. We need to create a database. So let's create a database in the AWS, or you can say RDS. So coming to the first tab again, and this time searching RDS. Click on RDS. Now you have to create a database instance. So click on database instance and create database. So after that, we have things like easy create and standard create. So I follow the standard create. Then we have the database engine types. So I'm selecting MySQL. Then make it MySQL community. After that, I have the SQL engine version. So I'm selecting MySQL 8.0.35. Then we have templates like production, dev, test, and free tier. So basically, I'm using the free tier. Then we have settings like database identifier. So I'm making e-commerce only for identifier. Then we have the credential setting. So master username, I'm giving the master username same e-commerce right now. Then we have self-manage or Amazon secret manager. So I'm using self-manage, giving the password same e-commerce, confirm password same e-commerce. So I have the username e-commerce and password also Ecommerce right now. You can change it or do any setting if you want. Then we have a db.micro. Let's make it these settings right now. Then we have the storage 20 GB and general purpose setting. So let's leave this general purpose settings, allocated storage, all these things. Then we have don't connect to instant. Let's leave that also. Let's leave this for now. Make it public access. Then we have the choose existing or create new VPC group. So let's create a new VPC group. I'm creating the VPC name Ecommerce. Then we have certificate authority. Let's leave that. Then we have additional details for the port. Let's leave that for now. Then we have password authentication. Make it password authentication. Don't change it. Then enable other things are there. Let's leave that for now. It is showing the 20 USD dollar, but right now for the free cost it will change. So right now I'm just using this settings, all these settings, and creating the database. So click on create database. Just hold on some minutes. Also let's create one more thing here. So here come into my account, come into the billing and cost management, and here come into our purchase and all the things. You can see our budgets. So you can use this budget to if there is any cost cutting or any time our instance get any cost, you can get a mail or something like notification you will exceeded your threshold limit by AWS. So I also am creating a budget. So create a budget, zero spend budget, my zero spend budget, then giving my mail address for orders. So I will get a notification if there is any charge will occur. Then create a budget. Also creating one more budget, monthly cost budget. So every time if the monthly cost get increased, like if the monthly cost get increased by $5, I can get a notification also. Super orders. Now all the things has been done. Also I set the budget things. This is also important, like if you have a free account and don't want to spend money, then you need to set these things to understand how much cost getting used by instance. After that, if I see our database also has been created. And also if I come to the database thing, just click on it, come to this scroll down, and here our inbound and outbound setting. Let's click on this security group, and here if I see security group ID inbound rule, it is allow for TCP 3306. That is also okay. Let's click on edit and bound rules. Add one more rule, all traffic right now. So I'm just giving all traffic to access it. Save rules to our MySQL client. So what I can do, come to my VS Code, and you need to install a tool which is MySQL client. So come into the extension, search MySQL, and there are lots of MySQL client. So basically you can use any MySQL client, but for me I am just using this one which is created by Vajan Chan. I am using this database tool to connect our database. So after installing this extension in our VS Code, come to our additional details for database setting. Sometime it is showing here or sometime it is showing here. We just need to find it where it is showing. Then we need to do a connection. So create a connection. Then we have settings like database settings and connection name. I'm giving the connection name Ecommerce. Then we need to pass the host name. So for host name, I'm just coming to my back, go back and go back again. Here if you see the database endpoint, just copy this endpoint which is our host. So paste it here. Then with the username. So username I have created like Ecommerce, which I already asked and created. Password is also Ecommerce. Then I think all the things has been done. Try to connect it, and you can see our connection has been successful. Just close it for now. Close this also. open this database connection, and it is fetching the metadata. Right now it is showing no database found, so we can create a database also here. Right now click on plus and create database Ecommerce. Save it, run all SQL statement, and if I refresh, I can see my Ecommerce database has been created. Right now we don't have any table, so we can create this table via migration when deploying our project. After that, come into your project, and we have to do some changes in our project. So first we need to come to our backend, come to the Ecommerce inventory, and we need to change the env setting. So earlier we are using the local setting or local database. Right now I'm using my actual setting from the AWS. So changing the username Ecommerce, database Ecommerce, password also Ecommerce, and change the host also from the local host to this one. Change it, save it. Then after that we need to come to Frontend and open the env file. We need to change this URL also, but for right now let's get one more file for local setting. So what I can do, new file .env .local. So this setting will run locally and the actual file will run on server. So just copy this for local setting, save it, and for this one what I can do, just come to my Chrome and come to the EC2 instance. Here if you see the EC2 instance, it is showing the actual address of our domain. So you can use this address or you can use this IP. So I'm using this DNS. Come into my code, just replace it http paste it /API, save it. So here our code will get deployed. After that all the thing has been done, we need to do some more changes in our project. So for that, like we need to serve our React application via Django. After that we need to create a URLs path in urls.py in project level, which is exactly serving our React application. So after that we need to do some more changes in our settings.py. So coming settings.py, and we need to add some path for static files. So what I can do, just scroll down. If you see this static, here is static. What I can do, I wanna add static root also. So static root equal to os.path base directory join static files. After that, in allowed host you can pass star, or you can pass the actual domain name, which I just copied, like this one, but for now I'm just passing star to allow any host. After that, again scroll down, we need to add one more setting, which is static files directories, and here we need to add os.path.join base directory statics. Now save this file also. After that, come to templates or template setting. We need to serve our index file from our React project. Like we need to serve our index file of React from our project level templates. So what I can do, I'm just coming to my templates directory, and here I'm just adding my template directory. So for that, I'm gonna create a template directory here, templates. So the React, if you see the React project, it contains a index.html file in public. So after building the React application, we need to copy that file from here to our templates file. So it will serve via Django application. I will show this thing later when deploying the image on Docker. But right now I just create a folder templates. Let's make it empty because all these things has been done by Docker. After that, what I'm gonna do here, adding the path e-commerce inventory, which is e-commerce inventory, this one, and /templates. That's it. Save this file. After that, coming to the urls.file, we need to add setting to serve our static files and serve our React index.html file. So right now, all the requests can be accessible by, like if we call any API, it can be processed by Django. But there is one URL or not matching the URL with Django. So it will proceed by our React application. So how are you going to do this thing? So for this thing, you need to add first for settings. If settings, let's import settings dot debug true. Then in that case, what I'm gonna do, URL patterns plus equal to static settings dot static URL, then document underscore root equal to settings dot static roots. Let's import this setting. So from django.conf.urls.statics import static. After that, we need to add one more thing, which is for our React application. So for that, URL patterns plus equal to array repath, or you can say regex path. So I'm giving the pattern to access all the URL requests, like I'm opening a page slash form slash category. That can handle by a Django also, that can also handle by React. So like if there is URL like slash get form get category that is not exist in the Django, so it will proceed by our React application. So first what will do Django here, it will check all the requests which is coming. First it will process by these URLs. If it is not exist, not able to find, then all the requests we can proceed to our React application. That's why I am adding this regex condition. Just adding the regex condition. It is okay. Regex all the things has been, I think, okay. Then we need to add a controller method. So I'm just giving the index to serve our index file. Also add the name index. Let's create a method index. So coming to our views and here define index request and simply serve render request and index.html file. Let's import this render. So from Django.shortcuts import render. Save this file. After that, import this file also here. Import it, save it. After that, we've done all the things for serving our React application. So I use these settings to serving our React application via Django. There is also other approach, like you can create a separate build for React and create a separate build for Django and serve individually both. But for limiting our cost and creating only one instance, I used to serve my React application via Django. Now after that, come to our project, close this project, close this backend, frontend. We need to create a Docker file. So first create a Docker file in the parent level, Docker file. Enter. Now here we need to write a content for Docker file. So for that, we just follow me what I'm gonna do. First, giving the comment stage one, building front end. So to build our front end application. So for that, from node 18 as build stage, then we have to use work directory. So right now I'm check out my work directory to /code. Now after that, setting the work directory, we need to copy the front end code to our Docker image. So what I can do, copy, then dot front end, then /ecommerce inventory. If you see this directory, it's front end ecommerce inventory, then /code/front end /ecommerce inventory. I just copy my frontend directory to the actual code in our Docker image. After that, we need to change the directory. So work directory, code, frontend, e-commerce inventory, and we need to run the command installing packages. So adding command also, installing packages. So run npm install. After that, we need to build our project file. So you can know, or I think you don't know, like for React, it is running as a localhost 3000. But for production build, we need to run the command React. For the production build, we need to run the command npm run build. That will create a production build which is optimized. You can simply serve that file anywhere in your project or anywhere in your server. It will just have an index.html file and some compile.js file. So what you have to do, you have to create a React build file. So for that, you have to run the command run, adding command also, building the front end, run npm run build. After that, you have to come to stage 2 build backend. So first one is front end, then I have to do backend. What I can do from Python 3.11.0, which is our project setting. If you see in our backend in the e-commerce inventory requirement.txt file, you can see the Python version also. I think it is not showing, but actually I'm using this latest version, Python 3.11.0. Then we have to set the environment variable. So for that, set environment variables. So for that, env Python write bytecode 1, env Python unbuffered 1. Then changing the work directory also again. Work directory. Earlier we are in the directory of e-commerce inventory. We need to come to code again. Then after that, we need to change our directory. Then after that, we need to copy our code from backend to the code. So what I can do, copy Django project to the container. So what I can do, copy dot slash backend slash e-commerce inventory. If you see this project name, backend, and this is our e-commerce inventory, which is our project. So dot backend e-commerce inventory. Then we need to copy this complete code in our slash code slash backend slash e-commerce inventory. After that, we need to run the command, which is run pip install r dot backend slash e-commerce inventory slash requirements dot text file. So it will install all the dependency which is required by Django project for Python. After that, we need to copy the node build file or React build file to our Django project, so we can serve the React project via Django project. So for this, what I have to do, copy, then from equal to build dot stage. Earlier, if you see, I added a build dot stage. So what I can do, copy from build dot stage dot slash code slash frontend slash e-commerce inventory slash build. So after building a React project, it will come to the build file. So just creating the build file and copy that code to slash code slash backend e-commerce inventory, then a static file. After that, again copying some other file. Next, we have to copy from build hyphen stage, then to copy code frontend build static. Right now, if you build a project in React, it will give you HTML, CSS, JavaScript inside a static folder. So what I can do, I just copy all the static from static folder to our e-commerce inventory inside the static folder. So first it will create a complete code of frontend build code and just paste inside the static folder. Then what I'm going to do, a static folder has CSS JavaScript, that I'm going to do what, just copy from static folder to the actual parent directory of the static folder. Copy from build -stage, then .code frontend, then e-commerce inventory, then build, and inside the build we have the index.html file, that what I'm talking earlier for templates. So what I can do, I'm just copy the template file and moving to where, just /code backend e-commerce inventory inside the templates. Here after getting the index.html file inside the build folder, what I'm gonna do, just copy that index.html file from here to e-commerce inventory to the backend e-commerce inventory. Then inside that again we have the e-commerce inventory. So I have to pass one more time again e-commerce inventory, then e-commerce inventory, then the project level, the template index.html. I'm just copying my build index.html file from frontend to the backend templates folder. Now after doing all these things, we have to run some command. So first let's go also add install the required package, copy the frontend build to the Django project. After that, run Django migration command. So for that, what I'm gonna do, run python.backend e-commerce inventory backend e-commerce inventory. Inside that we have our manage.py file. So migrate command. After that, we need to run one more command, which is collect static. So run Django collect static command. What I'm gonna do, run python manage.py collect static, no input, no -input. After that, we have to expose our port 80. So expose the port, expose 80. After that, changing the work directory again. So work directory /code /backend /e-commerce inventory. Now running the Django server. So cmd gunnycon. Also, remember you need to add one more settings. Let me show you. First, you need to cmd. We need to start a server using gunnycon. So when deploying the project of Django, you need to add your gunnycon in the requirement.txt file. Here if I see there is no gunnycon, so what I can do, gunnycon equal to gunnycon 22.0.0. Save it. We need this gunnycon. To run our Django project. So after that, cmd gunnycon and passing the directory, or you can say like you have to pass our running file path. So we have to pass e-commerce inventory .wsgi. Right now, if you check the location, we are inside the code backend e-commerce inventory. We are inside this location. So after that, you have to change directory to e-commerce inventory, this one. I need to pass this wsgi file to run our project. So wsgi.application, make it in double quotes. Sometime it is showing issue e-commerce. Then we have to pass our bind. Then we have to pass our port and host. So 0.0.0.0.0, which is localhost, and passing the port. Now save it. After that, our Docker file has been created that will run on the pipeline to deploy our project. So this Docker file will create an image in pipeline. When we deploy our code to pipeline, it will create a Docker image, and later we can pull the Docker image from Docker and use in our project. After that, what I can do, just come to our project. Let's close this. You have to create a deployment file. So what I can do, create a deployment file. So for that, I'm creating a directory which is .github. This is actually an action file which will trigger our pipeline to our server .github. Then inside that, create a workflows. Then inside that, we have to create a one more file which is deploy.yml file. Deploy.yml file. Now after that, we have to write content for this file. So what I'm gonna do, giving name, deploy on AWS, then on push branch master. If you want to do it for master, let's do it for master. So after pushing any code on master branch, this deployment file will get triggered. After that, we are giving jobs, build and deploy, run on Ubuntu latest. Then I have the steps. So steps, name, checkout code, action, checkout v2. Then we have other thing, name, setup, Docker, buildx, uses, Docker setup, buildx, action v1. Then we have to do login into Docker. So name, login to Docker, login to Docker Hub. Then uses, again uses, Docker login, Docker login, action @v1 with username and password. So here if you see secrets, Docker username and secret username password, that will save in our GitHub repo. I will show that how you can save a secret key, username, password and other things on the GitHub repo. After that, we have to push and build Docker image. So name, build and push Docker image. And for that, run Docker build, then t secret.docker username. They have to pass your repo name. So I'm just giving the repo name like Ecommerce Backend. Ecommerce Backend. Let's pass it also here. Build and push both have Ecommerce Backend latest. After that, we have to do a terminal connection. You have to connect from pipeline to our AWS server. So for that, what you have to do, name, setup, SSH. So for that, what you have to do, run make dir p.sh. So it will create a temporary directory. Then it will just get our private key, or you can say AWS EC2 key. So EC2 is nothing, just we created a file. If you see or remember last time, I have Ecommerce Django.pom file. That is our key file which we have to do copy and paste in our GitHub setting. So it will just or copy this private key and save in our SSH ID in the RSA. After that, giving the permission. I think that is also okay. First making directory, then echo the key into our SSH ID RSA. Then you have to give the permission commode 600. Then you have to add key scan RT key scan, change it to H secrets dot AWS IP. our EC2 IP address. After that, to deploy our code in the EC2 instance, name deploy on AWS EC2. We have to do first login to server. So for the SSH O strict host key checking equal to no. Then after passing the option, passing the server key or PM key dot SSH RSA, add to pass the user, which is Ubuntu is our user. If you remember last time, Ubuntu is our user. Add the rate AWS EC2 IP. So basically this command will do what? It will just log in to our EC2 instance, EC2 IP. Then remove this thing. End of file. Next, we have to log into the Docker. So Docker login, passing the username, Docker username, password. Next, we need to pull the image. So Docker pull, then passing our username, then the repo name. If you see last time you have deployed the code on the Ecommerce backend latest, they have to pull the code from same. So again, passing the Docker username, the same way here we push the code, we will not fetch it. So just copy this same thing. If you want more better clarity, just copy this thing and pull it from here. After login, pull it from here, Docker image. So first we build the image, then we are going to pull the image from Docker to our EC2 instance. Then stopping the e-commerce backend, then removing the old image, you can say old image of the e-commerce backend, then starting the Docker again. So Docker run -d name e-commerce backend running on the port 80. So basically here we are doing port forwarding. Like our Django project is running on the port 8000, but we will connect that port 8000 to our port 80. After that, passing the repo name again, Docker user, e-commerce backend, latest. So we just run the command for running our e-commerce backend project. Simply run the command for running our Django project from the Docker. After that, all the things has been done. I think we have to add end of file, and here make it more format, save it. After that, let's check it whether it is working or not. So we're gonna deploy our complete project to the GitHub. So we are gonna deploy our complete project to our GitHub. But before that, we have to do some settings in our GitHub also. That's what I say earlier. We have to set EC2 key, EC2 IP address, Docker username, password, all these things. So just set it. So back to Chrome, opening my repo, GitHub repo, coming to my repository, coming to my repo, coming to settings. Inside the settings, we can see secrets and variables. Come to actions, and here we need to add our secrets and everything like secrets and variables. So for me, I just added the Docker username password, so I'm not gonna add it again. I'm gonna change this EC2 IP and EC2 key. So what I can do, click on EC2 key. If there is no key added, you can just add it also from new repository. After that, for IP, I'm just coming to my IP. You can see this IP, copy it, paste it here, save it. After that, I'm changing my key also, edit it. So for key, just coming to downloads, and here is my key, which is the PM file. Just copy all this content and add it here, save it. So all the setting has been updated. After that, we have to deploy our project. So coming to my code, just doing all the changes, added a CI/CD pipeline with AWS integration, did Docker and CI/CD pipeline with AWS integration. Just commit your code and post it. So I have to post my all changes. Simply post it. So all my changes have been pushed to my master branch. Come into my Chrome and open the Action tab. If you come to Action tab, you can see it is showing my changes. So after that, when you add deploy file, it will come to this tab in the action of your repo, and you can see it is showing added Docker in CI/CD pipeline with AWS integration. Right now the build is getting failed. If you click on it, and let's see why it is getting failed. Invalid. Okay, there is error in the line number 12. So come to VS Code again. I think the error is here. Okay, there is simple syntax error here. Now save it. After that, pushing the code again here. Commit and push my code. After that, come into Chrome and again come to Action tab. And if you see, this time it is running. If I click on this, click on build and deploy. Right now, it is getting failed again. So first it is login to the Docker hub, and after that build and push get failed. Failed to resolve. Okay, we don't need, I think it is 0%. So what I can do, come to Docker file 3.11 instead of 3:11 dot 0. Save it. After that, try to commit this Docker file again. So commit the Docker file. Committing Docker file. Now my Docker file has been pushed. Coming to GitHub repo again. Click on Action. Opening the again deployment. And this time, if you see, it is actually building our project. You can see all the things which you have done in Docker. It is mentioned here, like from taking the image, work directory, copying the code, all the things you can see here. It is running the npm install also. It is changing the directory. It is copying the directory. It is installing the packages also. Recently I added Gunicon. It is also added. After that, it is, I think, creating a React build. That's what we say earlier. It is running the command run pm run build. So it is creating a production build which we will serve via our Django application. So right now it is creating a production build. If I check this, okay, it is running the migration command. So once the migration command run and all the things has been done, it actually puts my code on Docker. So we can see a Docker images in Docker Hub. So just hold on. After creating the image file, right now it is running all the things on the container and creating a Docker image. So have to you wait few moments. So basically, using the CI/CD pipeline, we can make our work environment deployment and all the things enhancement. We don't need to do previous approach like taking the pull from the server, deploying the code. We can do all the things automatically. You just need to push your code and pipeline will run and it will just fetch your latest code and deploy it to the server. Right now still it is running. Right now if you see, our I think image has been pushed. We have directly logged into the server, set up SSH, and we have logged in success. Right now we are creating the layer and pulling the image from Docker. And if you see the Docker hub, I think this time you can see the image, and you can see our repo has been come here. You can see the image file which we recently pushed from our pipeline. This we can see here, and after that it is pulling in our server. So image file is getting pulled in our server, then Docker image will get run by our AWS server. Right now you can see our build has been success. You can see a green signal. And if I try to open my host, click on open address. Here we to remove the HTTPS feed. Right now the code has been deployed, but it is not showing here. So what I can do in my server, this page, and we can check whether the image is exactly running or not running. So what I can do, I'm gonna check whether our Docker image is running or not. So running Docker ps. Right now if you see, there is no Docker image running. If I check more, our application get crash, I think, for some reason. So what I can do, just check what exactly happened. Copy the container ID and let's check what is getting the logs. So docker logs, pass your container ID, paste it, and here if I see no module name ecommerce inventory dot is not a package. So let's try to run the manually. So for running manually docker image, I have to run command docker and run. Then after that, passing my image name, which is star sj, then passing my ecommerce backend. So here star is my username of docker, ecommerce backend is my repo of docker, latest /bin /base. I'm gonna debug it, what exactly happened. So ls, if I see the ecommerce inventory, cd ecommerce inventory, I can see my all the things here, but right now it is not running. So if I try to run the command again manually, gunnicon, let's try to run the command manually, gunnicon ecommerce, I think ecommerce inventory dot wsgi dot application, then bind 0.0.0.8000, enter it. Still it is showing some error. Okay, here is the issue. It should be colon, not the dot. If I try to run, and you can see this time it is getting running. So that is the issue in our docker file. Let's correct it. That's why it is getting crashed. So come to VS Code, and here it will be colon application. Save it, push your code. After that, come into GitHub, and again here in my GitHub summary, come into actions, open the latest deployment. It is running. Just hold on some minutes. So I also show you one more steps in my deployment process, how you can check your logs of the dockers. So basically there are 3 commands. First, you can check the how many containers are there running, how many containers are there but it's not running. So basically the first command is docker ps. It will show okay, I am inside the docker, clear it. Earlier I am already inside the docker and running the command docker. So you have to change it. Then running the command docker ps, it will list you all the running docker. Then the second command docker psa, it will list you all the dockers with running and with which is also not running. It will show you all the docker images that is running and also not running. The third command, which is docker logs and passing our container id, you can directly see the logs of the docker. Then third command and last command, which is our docker run. So you can just enter to the terminal of the docker. Right now docker is also an image file, or you can say a container image. So you want to open that image file and check what it contains files, what's actually happening. So you can use this docker run and pass your docker image file name, repository name, then bin base to debug your docker file and run the command via docker and find if there any error. You can check whether image has been created, your folder has been created or not. You can debug all these things using this command docker run it and ecommerce backend, your repo name. Now after that, let me check what happened to the build status. So it is deploying in AWS. I think this time it will run. So I think the build status has been success. If you see, it is going success. After that, come into my page, refresh page, and here we go. Our application finally successfully running. You can see our image gets successfully running, our docker file, and we can see our React application. Right now, let's try to use the sign up API, it's working or not. So coming network tab and trying to use a test x1 email text1 gmail.com text1. Click on sign up and you can see successfully I am getting sign up. Right now the URL is not correct for home, that we can check also. But if I come to my home page, so it is loading our home page. So you can see successfully our React application loading and our API also running on same instance. Our React project is also running and our API is also running. If you see the network tab, let me show you inspect network tab. If you refresh page, so it load our React application also calling the API get menus. If you see the API URL exactly calling our Django project, so that's what I call all the URLs can access via our React application, and the following URLs which you need to use in Django that can be handled by Django. If you see the API response, all modules, there is no modules, no database created on these things. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna dump my local database for this modules table in our AWS database. So what I can do, localhost, come into my modules, let's export all this thing, and I'm just taking it as a custom, and I need only data. Just export it. After that, you need to come to your VS Code and the database tool which I installed earlier. Click on it. If I refresh this database table right now, refresh it, I can see my old tables which I created earlier. So open the modules and need to import our table. So come to Chrome, open this SQL file. After that, I'm gonna do what? Setting one more thing. Set foreign key check equal to 0. Foreign key check 1. So by default, I disable the foreign check because I have relation data, but I don't want to break this SQL query. So copy it, come to modules, remove all these things, paste my query, just run this command. The table name is different. It should be user U capital S capital. Copy it, run it. Now all the data has been imported. If you see, you can see all the data has been imported for our modules table. If I come to Chrome and open our project again in the here refresh page, you can see our project is running. You can see our project is running and you can see the sidebar is rendered perfectly. If I see my get menus, API, data, I can see my all modules which I created earlier is showing perfectly. So in that way, you can create a simple approach how you can deploy your project in AWS. So I teach you how you can deploy your Django project on AWS, how you can create an EC2 instance, how you can sign up in Docker, and how you can create an image of Docker file, how you push your Docker file to Docker Hub, then how you can get a Docker image to our AWS site, then how you can debug your Docker images, find what is the issue, find the Docker running images, find the Docker logs, all the things. Then how you can integrate a CI/CD pipeline to deploy your code using GitHub or any repository. How you can connect your database using VS Code, using VS Code extension. Then I show you how you can create a budget in EC2 instance for AWS. So basically I cover all the basic topics which is required for our AWS integration for our project. In the next tutorial, I also create you about S3 server, how you can create a S3 instance and how you can use S3 instance to exactly save our image file to S3 server. Right now, if you come to the category, add category, you can see there document and files. So I want to save all these files in our S3 server. So in the next tutorial, I'm going to cover this topic about S3, how you can save your image in S3 and how you can fetch data from S3. So I hope you like the video. Thanks for watching. Please like our video and please subscribe our channel. And if any question, please do comment.